Inexplicably continued to post herself in an empty theater for her own movie. She's literally the only person there. And do you not understand how humiliating this is? The experience at Minecraft goes something like this.
This is insane. Chicken jock.
Okay, so this.
Rachel Zeglar just got pixel slapped by a bunch of blocky dudes with square heads. Yep, the Minecraft movie just bulldozed Snow White at the box office, and it wasn't even close. Disney's feminist fairy tale got clobbered by digital dirt and a pickaxe. Is this Hollywood karma, or just the internet doing what it does best, trolling in 4K? Stick around, because this story is wilder than a creeper in a glass house. Let's unpack the glorious downfall, shall we?
But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Okay, let's break it down. Minecraft, a game where you punch trees and blow up pigs with TNT, just made more money in a single weekend than Snow White, a beloved Disney classic that's been around since 1937. The Minecraft movie, yes, you heard that right, it's not even a movie where anything makes sense, and yet it obliterated Snow White at the box office. A nuclear disaster, a box office meltdown of epic proportions.
White, of course, famously played by the insufferable girl boss narcissist, who's just clinical at this point, saying that audiences will always line up to see her no matter what she does.
Every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
You know what's interesting about all this is that the only person waiting in line to see Snow White was Rachel Zeglar. Okay.
I mean, we're talking about Minecraft, a game where the main character spends hours digging holes in the ground to make stuff that looks like it came from a child's toy box, and that somehow turned into a film that grossed $300 million, 0 cents globally on opening weekend. Meanwhile, Snow White, a movie that cost a hefty $150 million, 0 cents to make, couldn't even scrape together $2 million, 0 cents in its opening weekend. Ouch. Disney, I think we need to talk about what happened here, because this is not good.
Minecraft in the United States in one weekend made more money than Snow White has made globally after 3 weekends. That's how bad it is right now. And we saw the reviews, we saw the audience rejecting it, we saw people refusing to go in theaters. And now when we look at this weekend, not only did Minecraft make more money in 3 days than Snow White has made in 3 weeks, but also Snow White falls to 4th. A Working Man beat Snow White, and Jesus beat Snow White. This could have...
Let's talk numbers, because the truth hurts. Minecraft's box office haul on Saturday alone, $60 million, 0 cents, was like watching a toddler score a hat trick in a soccer game. Meanwhile, Snow White was over there in the corner struggling to scrape together $2 million, 0 cents for an entire weekend. Yeah, $2 million, 0 cents. 2 million. Let that sink in. You could almost hear the sound of Disney executives quietly weeping into their lattes. But then you look at Snow White, and it made $2 million, 0 cents over the entire weekend.
When Jack Black's character Steve says the words chicken jockey, fans of the movie go crazy. But here in Provo, that's when workers had enough.
Chicken jockey!
When the chicken jockey scene came on, that's when everything just broke loose. There was popcorn flying through the air. There was confetti cannons being blown off, and then a live chicken was in our theater.
Let that sink in. 2 million. That's not even enough to pay for the popcorn at a decent movie theater, let alone cover the cost of a remake that was supposed to launch Disney into the stratosphere. Now, here's where it gets really embarrassing. Minecraft, that goofy, blocky game where you punch trees, made $300 million, 0 cents in its opening weekend globally. That's right, 300 million on a weekend. And what did Snow White manage? Let's just say it was more of a slow magical disaster than a box office smash. Sure, they spent $150 million, 0 cents, making Snow White, a movie they thought would make them rich, and somehow the end result was a movie so underwhelming that it made $2 million, 0 cents over the course of 3 days. The math isn't just bad here, it's catastrophic. Was it worth it to throw $150 million, 0 cents into this dumpster fire of a movie? Spoiler, absolutely not. Disney threw money at a remake that not only failed to capture the magic of the original, but actually insulted it.
You know, Disney just nose planted remarkably with Snow White. And so in the original Grimm's fairy tale, which is a very, very old story, right? Because Grimm gathered these stories. We have no idea how old they are. There's indication that some of our folk tales are 15,000 years old. They're really old. And you can't mess with them because they have a logic. Okay, so now you might ask yourself, well, why does Snow White have to run away from the evil queen?
And what did they get in return? A global laughingstock and the cold, hard truth that no one cares about Snow White's woke makeover. Minecraft, on the other hand, $300 million, 0 cents, 0 apologies, and a giant middle finger to every critic who thought it would flop. The math doesn't lie, folks. Minecraft's movie made $60 million, 0 cents in 1 day. Snow White could barely hit $2 million, 0 cents. The numbers are so embarrassing, it's like watching a toddler challenge a professional athlete to a race and somehow still manage to finish behind the toddler. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Minecraft is a massive global brand with millions of fans, while Snow White is, well, Snow White. And sure, you could argue that the Minecraft fan base is so big it practically dwarfs Disney's Snow White fan club. But even then, let's not kid ourselves. This isn't a Minecraft victory, it's a Snow White disaster. Disney thought they could leverage nostalgia for their Snow White remake and, I don't know, cast a spell that would make everyone forget the original movie? Instead, they slapped a bunch of woke nonsense on a timeless classic and turned it into a train wreck that no one wanted to watch.
Is doing something magical. It's creating a live audience reaction event where people are going to just be part of something to interact with the movie itself. The kind of thing that really creates like a kinetic movement. And I don't tell you that I totally understand it. I'm not a big Minecraft player.
And it's not just about the box office numbers. Critics were convinced the Minecraft movie would flop because it was too childish and too obnoxious. Yeah, those same critics were scrambling to cover their tracks when Minecraft absolutely bulldozed all expectations, making $300 million, 0 cents worldwide in just a few days. Meanwhile, critics were trying to justify Snow White's disaster by saying, well, it's different, okay? Sure, it's different, but is different the right word when you're taking an iconic fairy tale, throwing it in a blender with social justice and a modern makeover, and then expecting everyone to cheer? Spoiler alert, no, Disney. No one's cheering. And let's talk about Rachel Zeglar for a second, shall we? This poor girl, bless her heart, was handed the iconic role of Snow White, and what did she do? She took that golden opportunity and decided to make the whole movie about her. It wasn't about Snow White anymore, it was about Zeglar's personal TED Talk. She went out there, loudly proclaimed that Snow White wasn't going to be saved by the prince, and then proceeded to trash the original movie, the dwarves, and the entire premise of true love. So much for honoring the character, huh?
My grandmother saw the original in the theaters, obviously, and I remember she told us that when people watched it originally in 1937 in the theaters, it was an amazing experience because for most people, it was the first color movie. And so, first of all, there was the visual of it, but second of all, people had so connected emotionally with the character of Snow White that when she eats from the apple and she dies, people were literally weeping in the theater because they liked the character of Snow White so much. It seems like it's difficult to imagine a situation in which anyone was weeping in the theater as Rachel Zeglar's character goes into a coma after eating an apple.
There were actually raucous rounds of applause in the theater. Of course, I was the only person in the theater, so maybe that might explain it. Probably in other theaters around.
She went all in on this girl boss Snow White, and honestly, it was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Zeglar didn't just rewrite Snow White's story, she stomped all over it like it was a bad ex, telling the world that the prince was a stalker and the whole love story was problematic. In a movie about Snow White where the prince is literally the prince, she went out there like some overzealous intern trying to redefine what romantic fairy tales are supposed to be. Girl, you're playing Snow White, not some obscure indie role where you can get away with whatever edgy thing you want. This isn't your personal platform to lecture us on the evils of fairy tales. It's Snow White, the one with the apple and the prince, that Snow White. The irony here is beautifully painful. Zeglar was so busy trying to modernize Snow White for a 2022 audience that she forgot the fans, the people who have been paying for Disney tickets for decades, actually liked the original version of Snow White. You don't need to fix something that already works, you just need to make it better. Like how Minecraft stayed true to its roots. Chaotic, goofy, and utterly fun, and completely smashed expectations.
New at 11, a viral TikTok trend quickly becoming a safety hazard for movie theaters across the country. During a scene in a Minecraft movie, young audiences throw popcorn and drinks at the big screen. It happened this weekend right here in Atlanta. News Edge reporter Ali Levine has the story of how theater owners, police, and even movie stars are getting.
But nope, Disney thought they could just sprinkle some woke magic on Snow White, slap a girl boss Snow White on screen, and call it a day. That's what happens when you think you can fix something with a political agenda instead of telling a good, fun story. So while Rachel Zeglar was out there claiming her modern Snow White was changing the game, the fans were at home shaking their heads wondering why Disney was letting her completely trash their childhood. Zeglar's words weren't just unpopular, they were downright insulting. And I'm not talking about the kind of unpopular where a few online trolls leave mean comments. I'm talking about empty theaters. The kind of silence where you could hear a pin drop, the kind of awkwardness that could only be matched by your mom showing up to your job interview in a Hawaiian shirt. I mean, when even the promotional screenings are empty, you know something's gone terribly wrong. And that's what happened with Snow White. Disney tried to sell a movie that was basically a lecture on why old school fairy tales were problematic, and people weren't having it. Fans flocked to Minecraft because it was a movie that knew what it was. It was chaotic, fun, and didn't pretend to be anything it wasn't.
Have you come across these viral chicken jockey videos on social media? They're taken in cinemas during the new Minecraft movie. When Jack Black says chicken jockey, the crowd goes wild, yelling and throwing popcorn. It started in the US and UK, but the trend has made its way to Australia. Videos believed to have been taken here show a mess left behind in one cinema. There's even flour on the floor.
Meanwhile, Snow White felt like a 2-hour TED Talk about why Disney needed to evolve its classics. Sorry, Disney, no one asked for that. Now, let's get to the final bit of delicious irony here, the marketing. Oh, Disney, they really thought they could slap a pretty face on this movie and get away with it, didn't they? The marketing was flat, the ads were uninspired, and fans were already checking out before Snow White even hit the big screen. But Minecraft didn't need any fancy marketing. It had fans, loyal fans who'd been playing the game since 2011, fans who'd spent years building their own worlds and just wanted to see what the game could do on the big screen. So when Minecraft came out, its fan base was already locked in. Disney thought a few woke posters and a trendy new Snow White would sell tickets. Instead, they ended up with an empty theater, a TikTok video from Rachel Zeglar, and the realization that sometimes the magic just doesn't work.
They want me to fight the chicken? Chicken jockey!
Excuse me, your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you? Spare me your white savior complex. I don't need anything from someone like you.
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress.
So here we are. Snow White, the classic Disney princess, gets trounced by a blocky video game movie. And you know what? It's kind of poetic. Minecraft stayed true to its roots, never tried to overcomplicate things, and simply delivered fun. Meanwhile, Snow White's attempt at modernizing and making everything relevant and awoke resulted in a product that nobody wanted to see and a lead actress that no one could stomach. The takeaway here, Disney, if you want to remake a classic, maybe stop pretending like it's a problem that needs fixing. Just make it fun. Just make it magical, and for the love of God, maybe don't cast someone who's more interested in lecturing than entertaining. And just when you thought this train wreck couldn't get any more cringeworthy, Rachel Zeglar decided to take it up a notch. Picture this. The movie's a colossal flop, critics are calling it a mess, and what does Zeglar do? Does she go back to the drawing board and reflect on the millions of dollars Disney wasted? Nope. She shows up to a nearly empty theater and decides, hey, this is my Oscar moment.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Yes, you read that right. Zeglar, in what could only be described as pure delusion, filmed herself walking into a virtually empty cinema with flowers in hand, acting like she just won Best Actress at the Academy Awards. The audacity. A moment so absurd it almost feels like satire. Here she is in a theater where the only thing more empty than the seats is the entire premise of the film, acting like she's conquering the world. Someone give this girl an award for most dedicated to the delusion. But wait, it gets better. Zeglar, in her infinite wisdom, filmed a TikTok in the process. She posted it as if she were some kind of box office hero, like the entire world was going to line up to congratulate her. Oh, Rachel, honey, no one even knows which movie you're starring in, let alone how you thought this was a victory lap. You've got to respect the hustle of trying to turn an obvious flop into an Oscar-worthy triumph. If only confidence could sell tickets, but alas, it cannot. Now, here's the real takeaway. When you're taking on a beloved classic like Snow White, the key isn't to make it about you and your personal agenda.
But here we are, Minecraft movie, you, Jason Momoa. Man, it's fun. My daughters all have friends. They have dates this weekend. They're all going out April 4th. They're all going out to theaters. It's a big deal in our school.
Nice.
Every kid is going to see Minecraft. I'm so excited about this. I love that game.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's creative. Do your boys still play Minecraft? No.
Yeah, no, they were on to Minecraft like 10 years ago, way before the movie was even.
Now, let's get into the core reason why Minecraft absolutely destroyed Snow White. It wasn't because Minecraft is some cinematic masterpiece. It's because Minecraft knew exactly what it was. It didn't try to change the game. It didn't pretend to be something it wasn't. It was just fun. Pure, unadulterated fun. And that's exactly what people want from a movie. When it comes to Snow White, Disney forgot the golden rule. If you're going to remake a classic, stop trying to fix it. Just give us the magic, the story, the fun. We don't need your agenda or your version of progress. So Disney, take notes. If you're planning to ruin another iconic story, maybe try to make it enjoyable first. That's the bare minimum. Also, Rachel, next time the movie's tanking, maybe take a break from your TikTok victory lap and just, I don't know, respect the role. You know, the one that made generations of kids dream of magic. Just a thought.